they're scared. 5 reasons. All of these things are based on my own experience being a Protestant, because I was raised Protestant and then I became Catholic. Reason number 1. Protestants, unfortunately, have no guarantee where they're going after they die. Jesus left us a structure and something called the last rites, which we are to be given on our deathbed. The Catholics have this, but the Protestants do not. So most Protestants are terribly afraid of death. Because of that fear, when a Goth shows up looking all memento mori, remember you will die, it's very triggering because they do not want to think about death. Just think of all the people on their deathbeds, tortured with the idea of whether or not they'll go to heaven when they could just be given the last rites. A lot of people have suffered unduly about that for years. Reason number 2 is something called iconoclasm, which literally means statue smashing. There's been a lot of iconoclasm throughout the years, but notably in the 6th century, Protestants brought it in and smashed a bunch of statues and defaced a bunch of art because they believed that having religious art was idolatry because you're worshiping that image, whatever it was, a statue, a piece of art, and they did indeed destroy pictures of Jesus and statues of Jesus with that. I don't know how that makes sense. But they did do that because they rejected Catholic teaching. They rejected Catholic art because Catholic art portrayed Catholic teaching. And all of this boiled down to their churches looking like empty, soulless auditoriums with barely a cross on the wall, and them, in my opinion, hating maximalist aesthetic and an aesthetic like Goth. They have this vague distrust of the old cathedrals of yesteryear, and the Goth aesthetic is like those old cathedrals of yesteryear. So in my opinion, that's another reason why they don't like Goths. They just have no aesthetic. Number 3 is demons. At the end of the day, to really fight back against demonic activity, you need a priest. And Protestants obviously don't have any of those. And when you're a Protestant, you don't really understand demons or demonic activity, so you end up in extremes where either a lot of them will be like, it doesn't exist, or they'll think everything is demonic, like just wearing all black is demonic. They end up in these extremes simply because they do not understand demons and anything like that, and they just don't have anything to really fight against them. There is things that a lay person can do to fight demonic activity, but to really cast out demons and to really get rid of demons, you need a priest because that priest has the authority to do so. It is a gift given to those in the consecrated life. So either they just pretend it doesn't exist or they avoid it at all costs. Of course, here I'm not talking about every single Protestant because there are 30,000 denominations, so I'm sure there's much variation. Basically, I'm talking about the general whole. These are the general problems that cause Goth hatred within the Protestant sphere. Number 4. Most people associate the Goth aesthetic and dressing like a Goth with the 80s and the rise of the bands like Sue Six and the Banshees. And that's what most people remember it from. They have this idea in their mind that it's a type of dress that Satanists wear. But Satanism and Gothic is completely 2 different things. And the Gothic aesthetic is obviously very, very ancient. It comes from the early Christian church with their promotion of Memento Mori and the Our Lady of Sorrows. Gothic is obviously much older than the 80s, but most Protestants remember that because they have rejected all of that early church history, so obviously it doesn't mean anything to them. So basically they just equate, oh yeah, that's back from the 80s when there was Satanists dressing like that, so they basically just lump us in with Satanists. Number 5. There's this thing that goes around some Protestant churches that you have to look approachable or nice or safe in order for people to want to come to church. Like the church members have to dress a certain way, they have to look like they're having fun or something, so that more people will want to enter that church. Now, I personally really dislike that way of thinking because it puts all the pressure into appearances and your appearance, and that's why people are going to go to church, because you look a certain way. We're taking the focus away from Jesus. Jesus is the ultimate reason why each and every one of us go to church in the first place. So I really dislike the idea that we are supposed to be served up on a platter and look perfect so then people want to live like us. There have been many saints who were never seen by anyone, but they still changed the world for the better. And you can see how that's another reason why they would not like Goths. The Gothic aesthetic is not approachable, it isn't nice, it isn't safe looking. Basically, the Gothic aesthetic is by nature, how most people wear it, is a non-approachable style, a style that's supposed to say, leave me alone. And you can see how that does not fit in with this idea of looking approachable. Now that I'm not Protestant anymore, I can really see how a lot of these unfortunate ideas and beliefs within the Protestant faith has led to a lot of unnecessary suffering for people who simply like to dress in this style. And part of the reason why I have this channel is I want to help people feel more comfortable in their Gothic faith, because I 100% believe it is in no way incompatible with the Christian faith. And I actually think that most Gothic clothing is a beautiful representation of the ancient side of the Christian faith, the ancient churches like Notre Dame in the Gothic style and Our Lady of Sorrows. I just think it's a beautiful representation of it. And most of all, I want to encourage people to be unique. Don't dress like everybody else. Don't look and act like everybody else. As Christians, we're not supposed to fit in. We're not supposed to look like everybody else. And that's something you learn once you pass from Protestant to Catholic, when you start looking at these old saints with their incorrupt bodies and their amazing miracles and the way that they miraculously, God changed history and the world through them. They did not look like everybody else. They did not worship in churches that looked like auditoriums. Unfortunately, Protestantism will never, ever get you close to Jesus as close as you were supposed to be. As you can see, there's a lot of different factors that go into why Protestants hate Goths, why they will sometimes treat people wearing Gothic styles badly. But ultimately, the most important thing is for you to love your enemies and bless and pray for those who persecute you. And that's in no way excusing when people treat you badly, but it's a way for you to live a more joyful and peaceful life. Despite what many people may think, we are truly Christian and Goth. Jesus was horribly persecuted and he suffered a lot. And while he does not take our suffering away, he always shares it with us. And we can unite our suffering to his in order to make a better world for everyone. Oh, did you know that I write Christian Goth psychological fiction novels? And my very first novel, Hyena Highness, is on sale now. I will put a link to it in the description. It is up on my Ko-Fi, so I highly recommend you going and checking that out if you want to delve into some more Christian Goth media. Also, if you want to support this channel, a great way to do that is by buying my book so I can continue to make more videos like this. And if you have any video ideas, please leave them in the comment section down below. You know I talk about Christian Goth things and how to reconcile faith with lifestyle. May God richly bless you and keep you, and I will see you in my next video.